Hello, this is going to be a demonstration of how to replace a bass drum part and this could apply to actually any percussive part that you want to replace, and it's done all the time. So here we've got a file with the drum part, and the kick drum is sounding pretty wimpy. Let me play this for you. Let me solo the bass. So it sounds funky. There's not a lot of attack, so that in that mid-high range, little lacking of definition. So of course you could always apply EQ to this bass part to get it to sound the way you want, but a lot of producers find it easier to just literally replace this bass sound with a sampled bass. And so how do you do that? Let me show you here. I'm going to bring up the mixer and let's solo the bass part here. What you need to do is figure out how to convert this audio track to a MIDI track. And one way to do that is with a program called MIDI. And first step, we have to make sure that there's only bass coming through this part. So listen to this. Hear the snare. For this to work effectively, we've got to remove all of that snare. So let's go down to Dynamics and go to this noise gate. Now a noise gate is a gate. It'll only allow sound through when it reaches a certain threshold of decibels. So this threshold is the way to adjust that. Now let me play this, and I'm going to adjust the threshold so that only kick drum is sounding. Oh. So now, at minus 33 dB setting, we're hearing only the bass drum, and so that's critical. So if I kick that out, you can hear the snare. Now the fact that you can hear some snare happening while the bass drum is happening will not affect us in this case. So let's close this up. Now comes the real magic. Let's insert another effect here, and I'm going to go down to Melodyne. And Melodyne is a wonderful program for a lot of reasons, but I have to choose an algorithm that says we're going to only use percussive algorithms to analyze the audio that's coming out. So to use Melodyne, you go into transfer mode, and then you play the track, and watch what happens when we play the track. So these little blobs are the notes that are being transcribed, and it's actually just saying this is a percussive note. It's not assigning a pitch to this note. So let's get through to where it's the really busy bass drum part. Okay, so I'm stopping it, and so now we see these are all the bass hits, the kick drum hits. So all I have to do, go back up to settings and save as MIDI. So let's name this something, I'll call it kick MIDI. I'll just put it into the master file. We can close this up now. Now we've got a MIDI file that's saved. So all we need to do is drag our newly created MIDI file over to our work area, and let's import the tempo information, which should ensure that these will line up. Now you'll see this imports as a grand piano sound, which is not what we're going to want. So let's go over here and assign our instrument to the Logic Drum Designer. That'll give us a drum kit. We can then choose the exact sound that we want, but you'll see that everything has been imported just as an A3. And so we need to get this transposed down to the MIDI note, which is C1 is the default bass drum sound. So let's just select all of these notes here, Command A, and let's drag down till we get it. And there it is. Oops, I went too far. There. And now we have to make sure that we're in alignment. So let's solo the kick drum and our newly created bass drum. So it's a little flammy. So let's just drag it a little bit, make sure. Closer. That's pretty good. There. So we can now label this kick. So let's I guess listen to this with the newly replaced drum sound. So this is just the drum sounds here. So you hear really nice drum sounds. Now there are a couple probably false hits that you'll have to take care of. I hear one over here. So if we listen to that, so that seemed to be just a false hit. So let's listen again. So you have to do a little bit of editing. But this is sort of standard practice these days in replacing bass drums. People do the same then with snares to get the snare sound they want. Usually not done with cymbals. That's harder to get those samples right. So anyway, this is how it's done.